Reddit, what brands or companies are actually evil? De Beers and their blood diamond, child slavery cartel. Diamonds aren't even rare, they just keep a hold on the supply to make us think so. I'm creating a competing company selling certified blood diamonds. 4 children die in the process of bringing the diamond to you, guaranteed. Nice. Where do I send my kidney? To Satan himself. Vera Bradley. Hello, sweatshop. Their factories are funneled full of refugees from Burma/Myanmar, Guatemala, Sierra Leone. They are drastically underpaid, obviously, and stuck in these huge yet cramped sweatshops. Literal sweatshops. My boyfriend, when I was in my 20s, he worked in factories through Manpower or some such staffing agency. They placed him there for a few months. He learned that they keep the guards on short-term assignments. Probably so they can't get enough evidence to turn them in. It was fucked. He said they gave the workers these paper-feeling pajama things and slip-on cheap sandals. They weren't allowed to bring anything into the sweatshop. Not a bag or a phone, not a lunchbox. They couldn't bring cell phones into the entire facility. My boyfriend was also held to the cell phone rule. He would have to call me from the parking lot before he went in, because even he wasn't allowed to bring his phone into the building. He wasn't allowed to bring a lunchbox either. It was bizarre. The folks were worked to near torture conditions, like not being able to use the restroom, not being able to leave the building during a shift. He said they would work for undetermined length shifts. He wasn't ever given much information about the production, about internal affairs. He was just told to watch these crowded rooms. He was supposed to make sure people weren't talking to each other, they weren't allowed to take breaks. It is seriously fucked. And this modern wage slavery happens in the United States. This is why I stopped buying their bags, when they moved from their USA plant. I was afraid this exact thing would happen. I have bought a couple of second-hand bags from thrift stores, but reading this it makes me want to toss them too. Union Carbide. One night, a pesticide plant in India leaked methyl isocyanate on the city of Bhopal. 500,000 were exposed, 16,000 died, and 40,000 were permanently disfigured or disabled. They spent years trying to cover it up and get out of any responsibility. My friend Mo was poisoned in utero by that when his parents were visiting their parents in India. His mom died of cancer the year he graduated, and he died of complications from his various disabilities and birth defects 3 years ago. He had one of the most brilliant minds and a fantastic sense of humor. Fuck Union Carbide. Edit, goddammit, I'll fix the syntax. Graduated from cancer, you all told the same joke 23 times. Rest in peace Mo. Fucking banana companies, seriously look up their history. They would topple entire governments just to be able to pay workers like garbage and sell the bananas to the states. Are there ethical ones? Like where should I buy bananas? There are fair trade ecological bananas. College Board. Non-profit my ass. $35 shipping fee to send my SAT score to colleges when it's sent online? Why does it cost $50 to take an SAT? Why am I paying $200 for an AP exam? Fuck that shit. Straight up a monopoly running colleges in America. The best part about non-profits is that there is no cap on pay for executives. So the executive can make $20 million a year and it still be a non-profit, and they get to write off their golf course and spa expenditures as charitable donations. Well, if executive pay plus fringe benefits are sky high, that deals with the issue of using up any potential profits, so they end up a non-profit. There should be government website that lists the breakdown of charities' expenses which they have to comply with to keep their registration. A lot I'm sure will use shady accounting to reclassify expenditure. DuPont. Knowingly poison the entire US with a chemical that stays in your body forever and causes health issues and birth defects. There's a whole movie about it called Dark Waters. I believe they're still fighting in court over it since it happened quite a while ago. It's worse than that. DuPont poisoned land and watersheds all over the US, then essentially purposely bankrupted themselves so they could legally divest all the bad companies and lawsuits/fines into spin-off companies with no assets so they couldn't afford to, so the cleanup/remediation. The good parts they sold to Dow. Never mind all that inbred business. Not only in the US unfortunately, also here in the Netherlands. College Board. And paying for electronically sending your SAT scores to each college are like $20 when you can do it for free. How can you do it free? A fee waiver, but College Board still only provides that if you have free or reduced lunch. It's a fucked system if we're being real. I thought I sent in SAT scores, but didn't. But the lady in charge of admissions just emailed me and my guidance counselor and basically said send in a screenshot of your scores. Did the same work they do, in 5 seconds, and it was free. Edit, absolutely not saying you should do, or ask to do, this. I'm just pointing out how bullshit everything is with that. Sempra Energy / SoCal Gas. Responsible for poisoning thousands of people in California for months with methane, benzene, and uranium, in the largest industrial gas leak in history, and got away with it because they had already bribed the last governor, Jerry Brown, with millions in cash campaign donations, and by hiring his sister Kathleen Brown on their board of directors. The Aliso Canyon gas field is less than half a mile from an elementary school. Sometimes even now gas leaks, and it smells like propane outside the school. The National Football League sent a crooked doctor to testify before Congress and lie about football turning players' brains into mush. They destroyed the career of the researcher who discovered it. They threatened lawsuits against journals that published the research. They actively misled players about the danger. Yes, everybody knew you could get a concussion playing football. But the league led players to believe it could be managed like any injury. Just get a couple weeks rest and it will heal. The league knew everyone causes permanent damage that never heals and lied to players about it. When ESPN co-produced a documentary about all this with PBS Frontline, the league forced them to disavow it and take their name off it or risk losing coverage access. The worst is that it's not even the serious concussions that cause the most damage. It's the smaller head bumps that accumulate over time and result in CTE, so health issues are practically unavoidable. Yup. Every single collision causes brain damage. Every time the center snaps the ball and jams into the guy in front of him. Anytime a ball carrier is tackled. Nothing is perceptibly different between subconcussive hits, but if you cut a rope's fibers one at a time, eventually it's gonna snap. Bayer should be the top comment. Literally, knowingly sold HIV-tainted blood products to Africa and third world customers rather than lose money by destroying their tainted inventory. I might be thinking of someone else, but they also made Zyklon B for the Nazis, the gas used in chambers. If you want to go down the list of companies that were involved in the Holocaust, you're gonna end up an alcoholic. Or involved with the Nazis in general. Porsche made tanks, Hugo Boss made uniforms, Volkswagen made cars, but I'd if they did anything evil per se. Amway. They're a MLM company that preys on the ignorance of poor people. The DeVoe family became billionaires of what is essentially a pyramid scheme. If someone gives you a book called Business of the 21st Century, by Robert Kiyosaki, turn around and run the other way unless you're into this whole Ponzi scheme thing. Ticketmaster, and Live Nation. Are they the same company? So fucked cause they own all the big venues as well. 10 years ago got great seats to every show. Now this fucking waiting room is BS. They don't own the venues, they just make them sign exclusivity contracts. Even if you go to the box office, they're still on Ticketmaster's website. Also, let's not forget the time that they lost that huge class action lawsuit for their bullshit fees, then made it extremely difficult for any of the recipients to use the vouchers they were given. There literally had to guides on how to find them on TM's website and they extremely limited in use. I think I never used one of mine. UTS. They're responsible for certifying lots of cocoa farms, especially in Ivory Coast, that abuse West African children in hazardous, grueling labor and let farms continue in nationally protected forests. They put the certified label on imported chocolate to your country when the certified chocolate actually did use child labor swept under the rug. Edit, UTS certified, not UTS snacks. Equifax. No reason they should still be trusted with personal information or credit anymore. AIG. Price fixed for profit insurance against your health. Frankly, I could write a list because I believe most companies listed on the stock market are dissociated from their own leadership goals and abuse the entire economy. Capitalism has run amok. I don't disavow currency, but just short of it, all markets need a lot better regulation. I heard Equifax persuaded Congress to pass a law barring anyone collecting damages caused by their data breach. I haven't verified that, but it fits. AIG also was largely responsible for triggering the economic collapse in 2008. I worked for them at that time, and they scrambled to rebrand as much as possible so as not to have their insurance products associated with the company that fucked up everyone's stocks. Then, they just laid low until people forgot about it, switching back to the AIG brand after a few years. I could go on about other shit they do, but much of it is no different from the quasi-legal methods employed by any other multi-billion-dollar corporation. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Have a great day, or night.